All right, what time is it? Ask your aunties.
All right, this is from Anonymous. I was chatting with a guy on Grindr, and he told me that he didn't want to meet up with me unless I told him details on my income, source, and amount.
Oh.
I really don't think that's anyone's business. He said, quote, he said, quote, I want to make sure that I don't have to buy you everything, end quote. I informed him that he doesn't have to worry because of my income, but that wasn't good enough. He blocked me. Should I have told him?
Oh, I'm
Kerel,
gooped.
I'm gonna have to pass the mic because I can't take this one first.
I would like the second he said my income, I probably wouldn't even gotten past that part in the conversation personally. Like, I don't like it. This is what I always tell Corey, by the way, my husband. To this day, I was like, I don't need you to buy me shit. Don't get it twisted. Like, because I always feel sometimes like I've actually asked like people in like our friend group. I'm like, I wonder if the perception, because there is an age gap between Corey and I, if the perception is I married an older person because they had money or something like that. And I always tell Corey, I'm like, don't fucking get it twisted. If someone comes up to you and gives you that perception, I don't need shit from you. I make enough on my own. Let's get it all the way real. And I've been successful. I was successful before I met you. This is just a cherry on top for me. But I don't need shit from you. So if someone came to me like that from the get-go, I probably would have said the same thing I tell my husband to this day. And there wouldn't have even been no hookup, no nothing like that.
No.
Unless maybe I saw the D and maybe he's like, "Ooh, the ass look good, the dick look good." He'd be like, "Okay, maybe one time and then be done with." No, just saying. But
actually,
no, like,
I would have done it, and then I would have dropped the stacked on his ass like
that.
Fuck you. That's just like, oh,
and walk out that bitch.
Walked out.
But no, that's off-putting from the gate. Like, where does that even stem? So clearly, he's putting a lot of his baggage on whoever this hookup was going to be because maybe that's happened to him. So that's where it's stemming from. But no, like on the fucking grind, like. But
to you, that's right. That's the real tea.
You on this app to, right? You on this app to hook up. Like, you ain't trying to find your husband. Maybe some people, I don't know, but then on the flip side, we always talk about like ask and tell what you want and from the get go. And I guess the dude was being honest, like, you ain't gonna get my money. But no, that's off-putting to me from the get go. So
yeah,
watch it. Wait, what was the ending question? Did he say, "What should I do"?
No, should I have told him?
Should I have told him?
Oh, hell no, hell no, hell no.
No,
because it could be a catfish moment. He could be trying to steal your money.
Well, and that was just, and that's what I was gonna lead with is like, I feel like, especially when you're on Grindr, where we all know what the fuck Grindr is for.
Yeah.
If you asking about money, especially someone's income. You checking for their finance, you checking for their person. So you trying to put yourself in a situation for you to be taken care of. And that I honestly thought that the person would have, that's why they blocked them, because they, oh, this person can't take care of me. I can't be kept, so I'm gonna keep pushing. So ain't nobody business. Everything ain't for everybody.
Ain't none of your business.
Like, and the truth is, if they gotta ask you about your finances, I would have been like, oh, so that means you must be insecure about your own finances, because if you secure, you ain't taking for nobody else's shit.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
So
what you think of Dawon?
Is there a story behind this? She laughed.
Right. She said,
I feel like this conversation didn't happen on Grindr. Like, I feel like this conversation is a conversation that would happen on like Jacked. I don't even know if that app is still around, but like, you know how like there's different kind of levels of apps that are out there, and like the certain kinds of conversations. Like, I feel like this is too. I'm just trying to imagine like somebody on Grindr, like going to this conversation about income or whatever. Like, it don't be like that. Like,
I mean, but white people are like that, and that's what Grindr is. So,
yeah,
maybe. And then my other thought is, this is, and I don't want to be ageist, but this to me sounds like, you know, like young gay stuff. You know, like this to me sounds like young gay stuff. Like, you know, like at a certain point, you know, Kerel, like you said, like you no matter whatever your financial situation is, right? You're taking care of yourself. You really shouldn't be, unless you're looking for literally a sugar daddy, someone to take care of you, and that's your thing, right? That's a whole other different conversation. But like, if you're looking to hook up and if you're looking to date and you're just casting a wide net and you're on Grindr too, and you're looking to date, like I've done that in the past, and so there's nothing wrong with that. But like, there are red flags.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
If there's anything that you should take away from this is that this speaks more about that individual and who that person is than it does about you. Like this, like, don't second guess yourself about, oh, should you have told them? Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is giving into a situation where the balance of power in that relationship is not, you're never going to be on equal form. So the fact that you've felt a certain way about not disclosing information, and that was a deal breaker for them, it's not a reflection on you. It's really a reflection on them. And the fact that he blocked you, baby, not all dick is good dick.
Say that again. That's true.
Like if he blocked you, then that's the universe's way of saving you from a whole heap of problems that you probably never even imagined that you would ever find yourself into. So, should you have told him? No.
Nope.
and don't give it another thought. Just keep it pushing.
And one thing I will say too is, like, I understand, being the one. First, let me.
Oh Lord.
Not by experience. I understand being the one to take care of, or having to put up money in front and stuff like that for the relationship. Okay. I have been on the opposite end, where I was the one on my journey trying to get my career going and try to get where I'm going. And financially, I couldn't always do 50-50. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of the fact is, I was still on my journey going somewhere, and it was about the end goal. Now I've arrived, and now I'm going even further. I'm going past where I wanted to go. A lot of people don't understand that when you're in a relationship, what you get today is not what you should have 5-10 years from now. If you still in the exact same space, that means somebody ain't growing and something ain't changing.
You gotta push yourself,
or
have someone push you that cares about you.
So the question, instead of asking about, well, what your finances are, you should be asking what your goals and ambitions are, because your finances can change in a heartbeat, as a lot of people have seen over this damn pandemic. And it's what you do with that hardship to get back to where you're trying to go, or where you were, is what matters the absolute most.
Is there a point in time when you should ask that question? Like, did you ever ask your significant partner how much you make? How much do you make? And if so, when did it come?
So I honestly don't care about how much Fizz makes. I know, but I know because he opted to tell me, just like I opted to tell him.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, as far as we're concerned, we still do everything very much 50-50 in a relationship, like, except for when there's gifts and stuff like that, then it's like, this is for me to you, like, if this is what I want to do, like, it's no big deal. But for big things, life-changing things, instead of like that, we're going to do this together. And if we can't do this together, then we're going to save to that together, or we're going to adjust our ideas of what we want so that we both can feel like we did this together. Because what we don't want is resentment. We don't want to feel like there's an imbalance of power because of finances, or because of money. So the conversation is never about how much you make. It's about, like, are you good with this? Can you do this? Is this what you want? That's it. You don't need to tell me why. You don't need to tell me anything else. Just yes, no, and we just keep it pushing.
Yeah. Dawon, like, has that question?
I've never asked any person that I was in a relationship with and or dated how much they made. Now, I found out, and Adam and I have been together 6 years, would be 7 years in next month. But the thing about that is that when we started dating in Chicago, I got a job offer that was taking me to Pittsburgh, and we had only been together for about 8 months. You know, so he actually left his job, and I supported him while he found another job, and he found another job pretty quickly. But then we didn't like living in Pittsburgh, so we moved to New York, and then again, you know, he had to find another job, and that took a little bit longer. So, you know, I supported, you know, him for that, and you know, we're just at different stages in our professional career. So, you know, we had a very open and honest conversation about, you know, how we pay for things, you know, and, you know, I think that's a very personal conversation that couples need to have when it's appropriate. But I think more relative to like what this Ask Your Auntie question is asking, it's, I think as young queer people, or just, you know, just young people, one of the things that you individually have to navigate is, you know, recognizing what you can do financially and what you can't do, so that you don't find yourself in situations where people are taking advantage of you. I mean, I know, you know, I will often, you know, I lean more towards, I'm pretty generous. You know, I lean more towards, if we're all going out to dinner, I may just pick up the tab or whatever, you know, because, you know, one, I'm blessed, and two, you know, that's just how I roll. And so, you know, like, don't get it twisted. That's not all it counts. I know
the community is like, ooh.
Right. Next time we all go out together, you know,
Dawon's DMs are going to light up.
you know, like, but that's just how I roll. And so, you know, but I think people need to do what they can do, not what others expect them to do, so that they don't get into trouble.
It's hard not to keep up with the Jones. It is so hard, especially in the queer community, because it's all about like the flashy. It's all about the rounds of shots, and it's all about the this, you know, and that's something that I had to learn. Because again, like, I'm to the point where I can do a round, but that's it. A bitch is good. Like, you know, I can't do multiple rounds. You know, and I'm okay with that. Like, I had to learn how to stop feeling guilty financially in the gay community. You know, because I started off like, you know, coming out, and like I was just working retail, like as this, you know, like a freaking Hollister, like little force of like storefront model and shit like that, you know, like then like, you know, like I was never making money. Like I never just made money until like, and even then I still never make money. Like I'm making enough to fucking get by, you know, like most people are. But it took me growing to shift my priorities. I'm like, okay, I actually have a little bit more money because I'm not doing XYZ as much as I was before, because that was just wasting money, you know? But like, I was always afraid to be like, I can't afford this, you know? And then to the point where it's like now today, I'm like, people are like, oh, you want a shot? I'm like, you doing rounds? But I can't do rounds. So, you know, like, do it for everybody else. I appreciate it, you know. And it took a while, pride wise, to be okay with that, because because you're almost telling people like, I'm broke, you know, or I can't afford, you know.
Money's a vulnerable thing, you know.
I mean, for some people, depending, like Ari said, like in Severines, like, they say money can't buy you happiness. You must not have had enough zeros. You know, I was like, bitch, you're right. Like, like
to a point, because if you don't fix the shit that like when you was broke, and it carries over to when you're rich, it's just gonna magnify that shit.
Exactly. But you know, but still, in the sense of like how the gay community works, though, you know, like that's one of those like,
and that's similar to like when we had the Queer Money podcast on episode 89. I just looked it up. So that's the Introducing Auntie Hendrix. Ask your aunties dead end blowjobs and buy you some booty if you vote.
Oh my God.
Which is a great title.
David.
Yes, John and David. So check that episode out. Came out in October. But
I had a little Zoom thing with them last week.
Yeah.
This past weekend. Just, you know, little Zooms, like just to connect and all that stuff. Yeah.
They're great guys. So check that out, the episode, because we dived. I haven't dove into that kind of a scenario deep into that episode. But I agree. Like within queer culture, it's prevalent. And it's hard to say, no, I don't want to sometimes. Especially with like if you're already at the bar and they're like, oh, okay, I bought a round, I bought a round. And then they looking at your ass like, Kerel, you buying a round? It's like, bitch, damn, I shouldn't have taken them first 2 rounds from you because I don't want to do that. And honestly, like I've luckily been able to afford it, but even sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do rounds because there's 8, 10, 12 of us.
You will go. That's a $300 night. Easily.
And it's just like
with 12 people, queers that know how to put it down, right? Easily.
I put it down.
I will say the one thing about buying around though is that means you got 11 other bitches that's gonna buy around.
That's gonna go.
That's true too.
I'm sad. So I'm sad. You know. So I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I do plan. I'm playing money like I'm playing money for a round. You're like, all right, I'm gonna buy a round this night. So that way, you know, throughout the weekend, I'm gonna give me another free round from 11 other.
That's fun. But it always feels like it never makes it to the full 12 somehow. You're like, hold on, who didn't buy a round?
But that's right. You know,
somebody go to the bar and get their look. Somebody go to the bar and they'll get their own drink. They'll be drinking a full drink.
Like, hold on.
It's like, wait a minute, where's
like the math ain't the carry the one ain't adding up. But anyway, but that was a great Ask You Aunties questions. Continue to ask you these questions to AYA@minorityReport.com or DM us at Minority Report on Instagram. We're MT Report on Twitter.
One other thing I want to say.
What's that?
On the previous talk about drinks. One a really good hack that I learned to do is if they buy you a shot in a round, instead of buying a round, you really only owe that one person. Buy that person a drink.
That's true too.
You don't have to buy it. You don't have because they don't. Other people don't have to benefit because someone else did something nice to you. Yeah, you just got to pay it forward to that one person, not to everybody else.
That's true. But you know the optics of the matter at hand is like
right.
But no, but the only person that matters is the person that's spending.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
You know, like as long as the person who spent that money on me gets it back in return.
Right. It doesn't always seem to work out that way. So that's why I always try to. I'm good. I got my own. I can get my own drink. I'm gonna buy me a drink. And then I'm going home with me.